Daddy had a lot of talent too, but
natural talent.
yeah, I thought back to, I wonder if who had more talent. Mm-hmm. If Daddy had been racing in Dale's time frame. What do you think? Dale had, Daddy had the desire to race.
Daddy had to feed 5 kids.
True. He worked out in the shop,
another whole story, because he had to make some serious decisions in his career about
I think Dale had more drive and more...
Dale sacrificed a whole lot more than Daddy did.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So I think Dale had more drive.
I think Dale had...
He had to win.
I think Dale had more natural talent than Daddy did.
That's what I kind of think. I kind of think that.
I do. I think Dale had the talent, the natural ability to feel what a car was capable of and to get more out of it than any driver.
And he probably inherited a lot of that from Dad.
He inherited it from Daddy. It was in the blood. Mm-hmm. Dale never let us really see his real pain and suffering. He kept I think when he hurt his leg, he had to have some surgeries or something. He kept all that from us. Those were different years, but even if he got a minor bump up, even in 79, Dale was, this nothing, When he was a child, cut off his finger, come in the house, and Kaye said, "What's wrong?" He said, "I cut off my finger." She said, "Oh, Dale," he flipped off the rag and he had cut off his finger, so Dale's story is he had a short finger, yeah.
Well, I know when he was a child.
This was a child, what I'm talking about.
When he was a child, he cut his leg on barbed wire, and it took Mary Morris and Aunt Annabelle, and I don't know,
a nurse, and
if Mother was there to carry him out of our house to take him to the doctor, because he was not going.
He didn't like
He
needles.
did not like doctors.
But yeah, Dale covered up his pain a lot. His heart, emotional pain and physical pain. You never knew.
Well, he was a lot like Daddy. Daddy was not.
Didn't know.
He was a man of few words, and Dale was like that. He may be talking to you one minute, and I remember taking Kelly home to the lake house. She'd stayed with us, and took her home. Walked in, spoke to him for a few minutes, when all of a sudden it was like I wasn't there anymore. He turned around and I said, "Okay, bye."
Yes, that was
and
how
I
he
left.
was. Like I said, Dale's life became so busy, and there were so many people, and of course people wanted a piece of him. There were so many people wanted a piece of him. When Dale just included his family, it was a really special time, because the more and more famous that he became, the less and less of that we got.
We always had, Thanksgiving and Christmas at Mother's, and they always came. He was always there, and
that was always just family.
There were a couple of other times we got together, for a few years there. We got together at your house.
We did it like after we'd gone. That was after 83, yeah.
Race, because there was... It was the night they raced on Saturday. It was a
that
race
was
they
after
raced
83,
on Saturday
that after
night.
Mike and I got married.
Right.
What, in 79.
But, there were a few times other than Thanksgiving and Christmas.
We after he bought the lake house, and I don't remember if he bought his lake house in 79 or not, but we'd go up there and have gatherings in the summer when he was gone. He'd let us go up and use his little boathouse. We'd go upstairs.
He owned that when he got hurt his rookie year.
Well, then 79 is when
because
he bought
there's
the
picture
lake
with
house.
our girls and kids laying on the pier, and he's standing above them, and he has on that
harness,
brace.
yeah. Yep. So yeah, we started our family gatherings in the summer at his lake house. Then
yeah, we did
79.
go up there some. I think we went up there for Christmas that year.
We did with Joe Whitlock, and that we did have Christmas at his house that year.
I think we did.
I know a memory that I had. He invited Mike and I, he and Teresa invited Mike and I over for dinner. He had on his broke both collarbones in that accident. And he had on his brace that made him hold him up straight, and invited us over for dinner, and he ached, and he wouldn't dare let you know that he was hurting, but he was hurting, and it was pretty obvious. And, it's real easy when you don't see him to think he's okay, because he's bigger than life, and he's, Superman and all that. Even back then, even before he started racing, our brothers were pretty strong-willed, and so you got an opinion of them. But, that day made me realize how bad he was hurt, and how vulnerable, I guess is the word, he is in those race cars, or, how easy it is to get hurt in those race cars. And so as far as seeing him regularly, he was still racing out of the shop in Kannapolis with his late model cars, and so I lived right behind there, and that's how I met my husband Mike. He was working with Dale some then, and so that was when he was kind of not. Mike started working with Buddy Baker with Wynn Incorporated in '79 as well, but Dale was still running some cars out of that shop, so I got to see him a little more on not a daily basis, but a little more. I never really thought about when he got hurt that he wouldn't mend and get back in a race car.
I never felt that way either.
I never really thought about his career as far as any short-term, long-term. I just knew he would always race. And a story that Kaye reminded me of when Dale got hurt. Mama was hell-bent on going to the hospital in Pennsylvania when he got
It rained the race out on Sunday. They had the race on Monday, and I was working at the daycare then, and I was on my way to my house, and they went to commercial. And when they came back from commercial, the wreck had happened. I was listening on the radio on the way home. And so he was in the hospital, and Mother and Randy took off.
Mama was determined to go.
And when they got there, Dale had already left, gotten on a plane, and came home.
Dale checked himself out of the hospital.
So they didn't even see him at the hospital. They saw him after they got back home.
Typical Earnhardt.
Yeah, he didn't like hospitals.
Mm-mm. And from what I understand, suffered on the flight home. He was in so much pain, but
that was his choice.
He should have.
Hey, if you like that video, like and comment below, and don't forget to subscribe so you'll never miss another piece of Dirty Mo Media content.